And welcome to SportsVibe. I was actually about to say the starting line. I was not exactly 100% used to the name change myself. It's the second week, but we're starting a brand new series where we preview every NFL team, all 32 of them, one division at a time. We're gonna get through eight in the next two episodes, this one and the next, and we're gonna start with the NFC East. I've got my Giants jersey on. Unfortunately, it's the Odell one because I don't have like a more recent one. Although you said you're getting me a Saquon jersey like when I come down to Alabama in a few weeks. I'm excited. I mean, I hope he
hmm
plays. I'm sure he will, but we'll get into that in like a few minutes. I think I'll sign his franchise tag before week one, but
Well,
yeah, I mean,
we'll
we'll
have
see.
to see first if the Saquon jersey is worth getting with his recent holdout. We'll
That's
have to
that's
see about
that's
that.
what I'm saying.
hmm
Yeah, but yeah, we'll talk about that in just a few minutes actually. But yeah, so brand new series NFC East this episode, AFC West next episode, and then we'll get through all the other you know, 24 teams in the next three episodes, eight teams at a time, excuse me, one division at a time per episode, but two divisions per week. So should have this done in about 4 weeks. But I wanted to start with soccer because yesterday was a huge day for both women's and men's soccer in the United States specifically. Let's start with the women's. So the US got off to a 3-0 win against Vietnam. Sophia Smith had two goals. I mean, I think it's safe to say that Sophia Smith is her. Like she's like the next, she could be the next face of the women's team. Also, Trini Rodman is like a lot of new players. Aside from her, a lot of the team actually struggled. Alex Morgan missed a penalty. She missed yeah, another shot from her was saved. Lindsay Horan wasn't playing too great until she got that goal. Even Megan Rapinoe, was struggling at times, but when she was in the match. But I mean, the US still got, I believe, 28 shots on goal, and they only scored three times. And Vietnam, their goalkeeper was just outstanding. They only allowed three goals, and a lot of people expected this game to be like 13-0, because of the gap in competition. So I mean, shout out Vietnam. They played really well. The US still got the win. That's always important. A little bit worried for later on the World Cup. Hopefully the team can get together as the competition steps up. But I mean, at the end of the day, the win's a win. It was 28 shots on goal, I believe, to zero from Vietnam. So I mean, still a very one-sided match. The goals just did not go in, unfortunately, at the rate that we are expecting. But yeah, I mean, do you guys get to see the game last night? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Nah, I
What's
mean,
it?
I didn't really I don't really watch a whole lot of soccer, but I will say, well, we're not exactly used to winning against Vietnam, so I guess we'll take the slight
That's
win.
that's true. That's true. Yeah. Right.
I think it was good, and it served as a preview of some of the other opponents that are going to have to come. 3-0, we could do better, and I'm sure this team will do better.
Oh, come on. In soccer, 3-0 is considered a massacre, so
Mhm.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
fine.
yeah, it's pretty good. It's just the competition level, but in most soccer games, that would be very, very exciting, very thrilling. But I mean,
Well,
yeah, I mean, certainly
thrilling
not
for
bad.
one fan base.
Yeah, it's only when we're
Mhm.
talking about like the top teams, like the U.S. women's team against, like some of the what were perceived to be more inferior teams, like Vietnam, because I know the U.S. women's team. I think they have the Netherlands up next, and that's going to be like surely much tougher level competition. So if we were like 3-0 versus
Yes,
the
agreed.
Netherlands, that would be pretty good, I would
Mhm.
say. I think they're also like one of the
Yes.
top teams. If I'm not mistaken, they were the finalists in the last World Cup, and the U.S. beat them. I believe that's true. You can fact check me on that. But in the meantime, yeah, the U.S. will play the Netherlands in their next group stage game, which is Wednesday, 9 o'clock here on the East Coast. Pretty good timing actually. I mean, that's not bad at all. And then Portugal at August 1st at 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm not going to be able to watch the game. I'm sorry, but yeah, I'll definitely check in on how the highlights going. But two tougher competition opponents. I mean, the U.S. is still the favorites to win the tournament, I believe. So I mean, I expect them to win both of these games and get out the group stage at the very least, and then we'll see. I mean, we'll see how it goes. But like I said, Sophia Smith's two goals, Haran one goal. Sophia Smith also had a nice assist on the Haran goal, so it was really like her match this game. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of all I wanted to really talk about. But I mean, strong start from the U.S. women's team. And there was also another big event that went on at the same time as this game, also in soccer. And in a way, it's U.S. soccer. It was Inter Miami taking on Cruz Azul in their first match of the Leagues Cup. But I mean, I think everyone is gonna remember that match for one thing and one thing only, and that's Lionel Messi's MLS debut. I mean, you have like what many people
Wait, who's
consider
that?
Messi making his
Yeah, who
MLS
is that?
debut. The soccer player from Argentina just won the
I'm
World Cup.
joking.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm joking.
it's
Like that.
absolutely
That's how much I
huge.
care about soccer, though.
I see. I mean, I'm not like the
Mhm.
biggest soccer fan to be honest. I'm probably like much more of a US fan. Like I'm more of an international competition than club competition.
You
Like I'll
can't
hardly watch
possibly be a
soccer.
fan of the United. No, you can't possibly be a fan of the United States soccer team. I mean, come on. Every World Cup, we're pathetic.
Like
Every
you're
World Cup.
talking men's right now.
I mean, come on. Men's especially
And
because like
yeah,
2018.
I
I mean,
mean
come on.
we made it to the
20,
knockout stage this time, and the best US players
yeah,
like
I mean
Phillips,
that
they're pretty good.
that
They play
itself
in
was
Europe now.
surprising.
So, I mean,
No, no,
yeah, that's what I mean.
that
I just
that
yeah,
itself
I
was
don't know.
pretty surprising.
Like I watched like some of the
I mean, come
Gold
on.
Cup,
2018,
or and
we
the
missed out. We missed
other
out on
the
the
Nations League.
2018 bracket.
I know we did. The U.S.
Yeah,
men's
but it's like
team had some work to do,
we
but
missed it
I
out on
think
the
they're in the right
2018
direction.
bracket because we
Yeah,
lost to Trinidad and Tobago.
that's
Trinidad and Tobago. I mean,
embarrassing.
only we could do that. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing, but they got their things together this episode. This cycle of the World Cup, they made it to the knockout stage, and then they lost to I think also the Netherlands, if not mistaken, in that group.
It was in
Well,
that like the
But
well,
that
the thing
it
is,
was the
we know the
Netherlands this year.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, now I'm
Well,
just
the
saying,
thing
yeah,
is, we know the United States will be guaranteed to be in the World Cup for
exactly.
2026
2026 World Cup.
because obviously the host team is guaranteed because obviously the host team is well host teams in this case are guaranteed a slot into the World Cup, and also the field is expanding from 32 to 48
Wow.
with the United States, our brethren from the North, Canada, and our brethren from the South, good old Mexico. So all three teams will be in. Of course, we can expect Mexico to lose fairly early on in the World Cup because that's standard Mexico. We could probably expect the United States to lose standard early on because that's standard United States. And as for Canada, I have no idea.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I mean, that's kind of seems to be what happened. Canada kind of burst onto the scene this year. I think it was their first World Cup in quite a while. Mexico does usually lose early. They did not make the knockout stage, and the United States actually did. So,
Yep.
yeah.
I
And
think before this,
yeah.
I think before, no, I think before yeah, last year, Mexico had, was it like a 6 or 7 World Cup streak of like making it to the round of 16 or something like that, if I'm recounting that
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah, I think you might be right about that. They usually do get to the round of 16 and then they lose, they bow out, but this time they did not. The US has
I
really
mean,
turned the tide on Mexico recently. They've won, I think,
are
like
you
a few
what do
matches
you
in a
wait? What
row.
do you mean? What do you mean turn the tide? We've always dominated Mexico whenever it comes to soccer. Like it's always been like
Mhm.
2-0,
Yeah.
3-1 whenever you played
That's
soccer
true.
against
Yeah, I
Mexico.
mean like in the
But
last 20 years
but
or so.
Mexico's
So
great.
it's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, I think like Mexico's greatest accomplishment, like soccer wise, I think it's the 2018 bracket where they knocked out Germany,
Mm,
like
right.
the
Because they were the
defending
defending
champs.
champions and then they did not make it
Mhm.
to the knockout stage. Right.
I mean, but then again, that's kind of been a recent curse lately until France. Like you notice for like 2010 when Spain won, they, I mean, the 2014 World Cup, nowhere to be found. I mean, at least the Netherlands like went fairly deep into the bracket. Then 2014 when Germany wins, uh, you know, they get bounced out by Mexico. I mean, really the one exception recently has been France because they did back-to-back finals appearances.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
2018 being the better one for them instead of 2022. So France was the only one that really broke the streak. But also, uh, see, haven't you noticed that? Let's see, it's been nearly 20 years since a non-European country won the FIFA World Cup. For like the last one to do was Brazil in '02.
Mm.
So And
Well,
of
yeah,
course,
and then Argentina
Brazil is
broke that
guaranteed to.
streak. Yeah.
Brazil is never going to win again. Brazil, like best chance is 2014. I mean, I understand Neymar nearly got paralyzed against that game in Colombia. It still does by far the best chance. They're not going to win. Argentina's probably broken up after this one because Messi's probably not going to go back for the 26th World Cup. I mean, what is he, 40? He's probably not going to go back.
I think he's like 35 or something.
Okay, well, he will probably
So
be.
fast
Well,
forward to
then he
three
will be
years.
40
Yeah.
for 26.
So yeah. Well, speaking of Messi,
Mhm.
before we get into the NFC East preview, I kind of wanted to talk about that his performance yesterday. He was subbed on, I believe, in the second half. I think early in the second
Late in
half.
the second half, yeah.
Late in I forget what when exactly, but it was in the second half. And then, obviously everyone went crazy, and I mean he played well. I mean, but it was an exciting game for sure. I think it kind of went back and forth, but obviously the signature moment was when they fouled him and he had a free kick from like not too far outside the box, and the calls were insane, like up his goal, like in both the US
Mhm.
one, the Spanish one, because I was watching on Univision, because I don't have the Apple TV account or whatever, but it was exciting. I mean, the shot was just perfect. It's like script writers were writing it, and fans went absolutely insane. Obviously, LeBron James was there, Serena Williams was there, I think Kim Kardashian was there. It was like a big celebrity thing, but I mean, huge goal, a great way to start
That's
the
got to be the
the
first
Messi
time
era.
you. That's got to be the first time U.S. celebrities cared about soccer.
Mm, yeah,
Mhm.
I think so. But that's kind of what I'm trying to say. Like it's gonna grow the game so much. Like I'm not like also like a huge soccer fan, but
Come
I
on,
mean I was
I don't.
watching both the
I
women's game
honestly,
and that, so you know what I mean. And I
listen.
wanted to see
Honestly, I
Messi
don't
in
know
his
if it'll
first
grow the game.
game, even though I hardly watch like,
Here's my
club soccer. So anyway, yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Here's my thing. I don't really think it'll grow the game in the United States because I'm not because I think in the 1960s there's an MLS team by the name of the New York Cosmos. They signed some
Mm,
guy named Pele to play for them.
all
You might
right.
have heard of this
Yeah.
Pele. You might have heard of this
Yeah,
Pele
yeah.
fella.
Mm,
Soccer did not exactly take off even when Pele was playing for the Cosmos. So
Mhm.
and Pele is considered the greatest no soccer player ever. Here in America we say football.
mm,
It's soccer to us. So
all right.
so Pele is considered the greatest soccer player ever. And if he could not um grow the game in the United States, Messi, what would you say? Maybe at least the top five soccer player of all time. At like
Oh,
Oh,
at
easily.
easily.
least.
He's I think
Yeah.
top probably like three.
Then
You could argue he's the GOAT, but I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll just say top five just as a
All right.
conservative thing.
Okay.
Um like let's just say the fifth greatest soccer player ever. So and I mean of course that was a different time, 1960s.
That's what I'm trying to say.
There
Like
wasn't a
there was no like
television. Yeah,
exactly
there wasn't like a television in every set or something, and more
social
Americans were into
media.
baseball, and then
Yeah.
the actual football that we
Right.
play
Yeah.
was really starting to come around. So and basketball too
Right.
was
Right.
starting to
Right.
develop. So
Exactly.
you know, I mean, we'll see what happens, but honestly, I don't expect all that much.
Mm, I mean, I kind of like disagree because like it's a different time period. Like, I mean, social media. Obviously, so many people saw the game. Like celebrities were there. Everyone knows Messi. Um,
Uh,
I don't know. It's
yeah,
just a different
honestly, I
time, I
feel like
guess.
social media sometimes ruins sports.
Mm. I mean, everyone
Like,
saw
I
that
feel like
goal.
sometimes social media takes more. No, I'm just saying, like, I think social media sometimes it takes away more from the history of the sport and from like being in the moment of the sport itself. Um, I think more people are focused on getting the tweet, like,
That's
that
true.
tweet with like 50,000 likes of like
Right,
Steph
right,
Curry shooting a game-winning three or something, than they are being in the moment of watching Steph Curry hit that game-winning three. Like,
that's
you know
fair.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, I see your point. I don't know. I will have to see. I mean, it's not just Messi. I think the MLS also, that's going to grow the MLS. But U.S. soccer as a whole, like the men's team's gotten so much better. Like they basically like been superior to Mexico for like quite a while now, and that's pretty impressive considering their main sport's soccer and
Close to
our
2 decades, I
fifth
think.
sport is soccer. Yeah, and now our best players like
And
Pulisic, Reina, so many McKinney, like all of them play in Europe in the Premier League. and you know
I
what I
remember
mean.
Yeah.
Matt Turner.
I remember the United
So
States soccer. I remember the United States soccer days of Landon Donovan.
exactly,
Oh
yeah.
man. Hmm.
Yeah, Clint Dempsey. Yeah, guys like that. Yeah, I remember growing up and watching those matches. I mean, they were not like they were. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. They were not like that great back then either. They're okay. I think it's on the upswing though. I
And they're
mean, we'll
still
have to
not that
see
great.
what exactly, but they've gotten a little bit better. We'll have to see how this plays out. I'm excited for the 2026 World Cup. Obviously, U.S., Mexico, Canada all
Hmm.
hosting. It's going to be here. I hope the U.S. puts together a really good team. They built on 2022. I
Don't
mean,
expect
we'll have to.
much.
I hope they at least make it to the knockout stage. I think they're also going to be in Copa
And
America playing
that's
against
who
South
like
American teams. So
no.
they'll get to really compete against
Listen,
Argentina and Brazil too. So that I think that'll be interesting to see
let's
where
not
they
forget about
stack
this.
up.
Let's not forget about this though. The bracket expanded by 50%. So like we're graduating from 32 teams to 48.
That's going to
So
be
immediately
insane.
our odds no, so immediately our odds of itself just miraculously making it to the round of 16 has tremendously spiked up, kind of like our country's inflation and economy right now. So like uh so it's we're not
Yeah.
exactly gonna have that great of a chance. But at the same time, expanding the bracket by another 16 teams, I mean, maybe there's some soccer teams that like some national soccer teams we don't know about that could actually be pretty darn good. At the same time, there could also be soccer teams that we don't know of that could be pretty darn awful. So
We'll have to see
I'd
how that.
say
Is it
no.
four groups of like? I mean, well,
Listen,
12 groups of four, like instead of eight? Like, are they just gonna like? I don't really know how the
yeah, I
groups
mean, listen,
are
like
gonna shake
while
out.
there's while there's the mathematical odds of this, it's just like the Hunger Games. Anyone can win in any circumstance. It just has to be the right circumstance for you to win.
Upsets will happen. I mean, we did see Saudi Arabia beat Argentina in the first game of the World Cup for them, and
Yeah,
then
and we're all
Argentina goes on
trashing
to
all over
win.
Argentina.
Yeah, it was so funny because like all of the goals that Argentina scored that game were like offside, so they would have won. But then since they're all offside, I think Saudi Arabia, I think it was 2-1. So like that was just the funniest thing and probably one of the biggest upsets of World Cup history. And then Saudi Arabia playing right
No,
near
no,
their
upset.
home
No,
stadium,
no.
Qatar too.
Here's my take. No. Up group set up stages. No, group stage upsets don't mean anything. Upsets only happen after advancing or in the final games of a group stage. Like a traditional game one or game two of a group stage is not an upset to me. Like it only has to happen. It's only an upset during a critical situation.
That's yeah, that's
Like
fair.
like for
Yeah,
example, like for example, the Rockies just beat the Yankees like 7-2 the other day. Would
right.
you call that a historic upset? No, because it's the regular season and
Yankees are
hardly anyone cares that
struggling
much about the
lately
regular
though, but
season
I
in
mean,
baseball.
at least
But
they've beat the
but
Royals
but
twice now, so that's good. But other than
yeah,
that,
but that's the Royals. But anyways, but
cool.
if we were to say, but like let's say somehow I don't know the let's say somehow Colorado ends up going undefeated for the rest of the season, pulls into the wild card, and then goes on a run to win the World Series. That would be an upset.
Mm,
But
that would be
Colorado beating the Yankee,
ridiculous.
Colorado beating the Yankees last week 7-2, despite being like a top three worst team in baseball. At this time, it's not an upset. I mean, it's surprising, yes, but as an upset, absolutely not.
No, yeah.
What do
Mm,
you think, Kapil? Agree or disagree?
Well, I agree with you really, but like it's you can't have like, you want an upset, you have to make it in like a mat like an elimination match. And I agree with you in
Yeah,
that regard.
yeah,
Otherwise,
I
yeah.
think so too.
a
Actually,
minor
yeah,
one, I mean
you're
like
right.
look at what happened to Argentina. I think they lost to Saudi Arabia and they
Right,
won
that's
the
what.
FIFA World Cup last
Yeah,
year.
exactly. Maybe it's just a wake
I
up
mean,
call or something.
we could
I
call
don't
that
know.
game shocking. We could call that game shocking, embarrassing, humiliating, but not an upset. Upsets only occur during knockout rounds. Like when the game is when it's game seven, do or die. I understand the FIFA World Cup. It's not game sevens, but Well, effectively it is because it's a do or die moment.
Mm.
Those are upsets. Losing
I
in
mean,
like that 3-game regular season bracket, that's not really an upset unless if you're in like the third or fourth game of the tiebreaker where the winner advances. That's an upset. I mean, well, where the underdog triumphs. That's the upset. The regular season part of it, like the small mini tournament, that is not an upset. It's shocking when it happens, but it's not an upset.
I mean, like I kind of agree. I mean, I would still say it's an upset. Like, would it be the biggest upset of the World Cup history? Like I kind of try to mention, like, I don't think so. I think knockout games obviously are much more significant. That goes for any sport, but an upset's still an upset. Like if I don't know, what's a good what's another sport you can try this with?
Actually,
Like if
well, we could kind of compare this to baseball in a way because now we have had, I mean, forget about the game, forget about the ALDS and the ALCS in the World Series. Forget about that. We right now we have 3-game wild cards now. Remember before, like last year, it used to be do or die wild card games.
right, and
You
not
you
like
guys
that.
remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, now it's a
like
3-game series in the
right.
wild card. So like you remember last year when Philadelphia swept St. Louis? That was an upset in the wild card matchup
Mm.
because
Yeah,
well,
yeah. I mean,
at
was it?
least it's an upset for
Yeah.
me because I kind of wanted the Cardinals to win the whole thing. So I can see Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, and Adam Wainwright host the Commissioner Trophy one last time before they retire. So for me, it was an upset, but no, actually the bigger upset in that case. I mean,
There's so many
if we were
upsets
to
in that
condense it,
playoffs with the Phillies making all the way to the World Series, Braves going
yeah,
down, Mets going down, and
yeah.
Phillies
Oh wait,
Padres.
actually,
Yeah,
no, wait, that's actually a good one you just pointed out. Cleveland beating Tampa Bay. Like
that
that
too.
was an upset.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
taking the Yankees
Yeah.
to five too.
So like
Yeah. But I mean, well, that's
like
not an upset, but I mean, yeah. But even being the Rays was
and
definitely an
I
upset for sure.
well really like the one sport that is actually comparable to soccer in terms of like elimination format here that we got right here is the superior football, the National Football League, and the only football that matters in the United States and should ever matter, in my opinion. Uh but like let's see, what were some last year upsets in the wild card round?
NFL.
I mean, yeah.
Um,
I
Um,
think that
was
New York
Jag.
over Minnesota.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
right,
kind of,
the
sort of.
Jags and
Although
the
people
Chargers.
thought
Well, I
that
don't.
That was
I
was
funny.
did.
pretty
Well,
funny.
I didn't consider that an upset. I honestly thought that it would
I
be
mean, but come on, 27 to
Jacksonville.
0, and
Okay,
then the Chargers just
at
charter him.
that point, yes, but before the game, I expected Jacksonville to win anyway. They were, they beat them convincingly, like week 2 or 3, when healthy, and there's
Yeah,
no reason to do it again. So I
but that
didn't.
but that was still
I,
extremely funny. But
It
it
was
was
really
funny.
funny.
and
I
and
didn't
then the
expect.
and then like
I
speaking of wild card upsets, I think the Giants upsetting the Vikings, like I'd
yes,
Yeah,
consider
big
that an
time.
upset.
that
Yes,
counts.
I
Although
didn't
everyone
expect
thought the
that.
Vikings were frauds. So, I mean, winning all those close games, a lot of Giants fans
No,
thought that they were
no,
winning that game.
yeah,
Still counts as
wait,
an
weren't the
upset in my book,
Vikings like
though.
the
They were
Vikings in one
13
score
and
games were like
4, and
11 and 1.
yeah,
No,
which is
no,
kind of
I'm saying
why I
like the
thought like
Vikings in
that
one
might
score
not
games were like
continue.
11 and 1.
Yeah,
That
they were
that's
11 and
right.
0. They were 11 and 0, and then 11 and 1 after New York.
After the Giants, yeah, well, I guess that their luck kind of
Hmm.
ran out at that point. But yeah, you know
Well,
what? Yeah, it was meant
you're a
to be, I
sports
guess.
team.
But
Well, here's the thing. You're a sports team in Minnesota playing in the playoffs. You are bound to experience disappointment.
Hmm.
Bound.
yeah,
Fair.
yeah. Well,
Any others we can think of?
in terms of other upsets, I don't know. After that, playoffs are kind of chalked out, right? It was Kansas City in the AFC. It was Cincinnati. Was Cincinnati over Buffalo an upset, or not really? Because it was in Buffalo, and
Nah,
those teams are supposed to be
I
really
think
good.
so. I think so.
I don't consider that.
And
I always
Mhm.
thought Cincinnati was the superior team.
I think
I
so
mean,
too, but I don't think
it
that,
was in Buffalo. Yeah, I think the Bengals
I'm not
were the
sure.
superior
Mhm.
team also for that year, especially. And then that was a really good AFC Championship
yeah,
game.
but come
NFC
on,
kind of chalked out after that. Eagles, Niners,
Yeah,
Eagles again.
yeah, I think
Um,
Buffalo, yeah, last year's Buffalo definitely was the
I mean,
favorite.
honestly, I thought
especially home
like
in the
the
snow.
NFC
Yeah,
divisional. No, let's see. Wait. The Cowboys got bounced in the divisional round, right?
Yes,
yeah, that was
against
also
San
No,
Fran.
yeah,
no, like
right. That was not an upside either.
I honestly thought the Niners like beating the Cowboys was an upset. I mean, come on. I mean, sure,
I
San
I
Fran's
didn't think
defense.
so. I mean, like
No,
they're
I'm
play
saying
at
like
home.
sure, San Fran's it's not about just being at home. Like San Fran's defense is lethal, best in the league, like last year,
Hmm.
and pro
Right.
well, or at least like 1 and 2 with San Fran and Philadelphia, but and probably going to be the same this year, assuming
I think so.
nothing extraordinary changes. But let's
Hmm.
not forget, Jimmy G was down, Trey Lance was down from like the first game, first game or something. They were starting a third string quarterback, Brock Purdy. We had no idea he was going to go on this run or something. So the offense was completely dependent on Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick of the draft. And
Yeah.
sure, you had George Kittle. Like, there's no denying that George Kittle is a great player, best tight end in the league. But
Kelsey.
no,
Sure.
no,
Yeah,
no,
it's definitely Travis Kelsey. It's
No,
one and
Kelsey's
two,
not a
but I
tight
think
end.
Kelsey.
No, Kelsey's not a tight end. He does not block at all. He does not do the tight end part of being a tight end.
Fair.
He is absolutely not a tight end. So, anyways, but still, George Kittle, and and of course that Christian McCaffrey guy. He's also pretty good, but still, like like Brock Purdy. Like, did San Francisco fans really believe in Brock Purdy? Like going into the playoffs? I don't know. So
I
from
believe.
that angle, I considered an upset.
I think, I mean, like
Niners
they
over
saw what,
Cowboys. It's an
they
interesting
saw
way
what
to
he
look at it.
did
Yeah.
against, good teams. So, and like he, I mean, what was it? I mean, towards the end of the season, right? They had to play, I think they had to play Seattle, which was suspect, obviously. Um, and
Oh yeah,
yeah, that was a
Seattle
good win.
almost upset San Francisco.
Oh yeah, yeah. In the first half, let's get that right.
Yeah,
In the
that
first,
was a
yeah.
good game though. Well,
It was for a
Mhm.
while. Yeah, I kept it
I
close.
think for the next part we should actually get back on track on talking about the NFC East. So
Yeah. Yeah, I
Mhm.
guess this episode just became a mix of things, soccer, and I'll have to
see,
summarize it later on, and
this is
into
why you should never
football with
try to
some
bring soccer.
baseball.
This is why you should never bring soccer into football talk. This is why you should never
Mhm.
do this.
Yeah, we'll tell
So
you what,
shame on you, Arnav. This is all your
my
fault.
bad. We're gonna try to blitz through all 8 teams in the next episode, NFC East, AFC West. So stay tuned for that, and we will be right back with part 2.